morning. I am Dr. Mahika, Assistant Professor, Department of Computer Science and Engineering, PSN College of Engineering and Technology. Today I am going to give a lecture on the topic Inheritance in C++. So let's see about the outline of the presentation. First of all, we are going to see about what is inheritance, then importance of inheritance, then types of inheritance, and finally access modes. Inheritance. So as we know that what is inheritance in generally, it is deriving a properties from ancestors. In technical, in C++, it is the one of the key features, that is inheritance is nothing but it is the ability of a class to inherit all the characteristics of another class. It allows us to create a new class from an existing class. That is, we can deriving a class, it inherits the features of the base class. For example, suppose that there are three sections in our department. Consider A, B and C. Here some of the regular activities has to be performed in each class. For example, taking attendance, distributing newspapers to the students who subscribe for it, and giving them their final grade. So this is how the above task would be taken without using inheritance, in the sense it would be like that. That is A, class B and class C has to be perform all the three activities separately. So in this case, if you are using inheritance, in the sense this task should be easily simplified. For example, attendance, newspapers, distributing the newspapers and grade. So all these activities are given to the class A, B and C. So simply we can consider these activities for each classes if suppose we are using the inheritance. There are two terms or need to be used or need to be understood by the users of the C++, that is base class and the derived class. So what is base class, in the sense it is also known as the superclass or parent class. It is responsible for sharing its properties with its derived class. So derived class, in the sense it is a subclass or child class or new class. It is responsible for inheriting some of or all the properties of the base class. Then we can see about the importance of inheritance. So what purpose we are using this inheritance in C++ language, in the sense, so it has numerous reasons as to why the concept of inheritance was introduced in C++. Some of the reasons are it reduces the code redundancy and it reduces code code reusability is available in C++, and it also increases the code reliability by providing a definite body to the program, and it also reduces the complexity of coding. Reduced redundancy, in the sense the codes, whenever we need some set of codes, in the sense that codes to be reused, and reusability, in the sense we can reuse the code as and when we can need. Then it increases the code reliability, in the sense it provides the definite body of the program, so that reliability has been increased, and also it reduces the complexity of coding. Then we can see about the types of inheritance. There are basically 5 types of inheritance. One is single inheritance, and second one is multi-level inheritance, and third one is multiple inheritance, and fourth one is hierarchical inheritance, and fifth one is hybrid inheritance. Let me see about the single inheritance. From the name itself, we can understand that here the level of inheritance is 1. So this inheritance happens when the parent class has only one child class. In other words, it is only one derived class can be formed from the base class. Here the level of inheritance is 1. The representation is here. Here the base class named as A and the derived class named as B. The base class deriving a new class is B. So the B class has the rights to inherit the properties of the class A. Then The second type of the inheritance is the multi-level inheritance. This type of inheritance is the best way to represent the transitive nature of the inheritance. Here in this type, the level of inheritance is more than one. So in this type of inheritance, the new class can be inheriting the properties of already derived class. Here the new class can be created from the already derived class. Here the level of inheritance is more than one. Here the representation in the class C and the class B or the base classes. The class C is deriving the class B. From the base class to deriving a new class is class A. Here the intermediate class is the class B. So class B is having the properties of class C and class A is having the properties of class B. So here multi-level inheritance is what? It is the deriving a new class from already derived class. Here the already derived class is the class B. Class B is the already derived class. Then the next type of the inheritance is the multiple inheritance. In this type of inheritance, when the child class inherits its properties from more than one class, one base class. So here more than one base class to deriving a new class. So the derived class can inherit the properties of more than one base classes. So in base classes, different base classes are class B and class C. The new class named as class A. So the new class, that is the derived class, has the properties of both class B as well as class C. Then the third type of the inheritance is the hierarchical inheritance. Here in this type of inheritance, multiple child classes inherits their properties from just a single base class. That is, we are creating a derived class. That is, we are creating a new class from a single base class. So more than one derived classes has been created from a single base class. In this example, we have class A, class B, class C. So class A is deriving a new classes class B and C, and class B also deriving new classes class D and E. So here, from the single base class to deriving a more than one new classes. So here also the class C is also deriving more than two classes, the more than one classes, that is class F and class G. So class F and class G has the properties of class C. So this is the representation of hierarchical inheritance. Then the fifth type of the inheritance is the hybrid inheritance. So hybrid inheritance is essentially combines more than two forms of inheritance. So here the representation. So in general, it combines hierarchical and multiple inheritance. So in this case, the class A, class B and class C are acting as a base classes. From base classes to deriving a new class, class D, and from the derived class D to deriving a new classes, class E, class F and class C. So here in this example, the derived class D is inheriting the properties of class A, class B and class C, and also the new classes class E, class F and class G also inheriting the properties of class D. So this is the combination of hierarchical as well as multiple inheritance. Then when we are going to write a programs with respect to the inheritance concept, in the sense we should know about the access modes or visibility modes in C++. So generally we have three types of visibility modes, that are public, private and protected. So in the case of public mode, when we are deriving a new class with the help of the public visibility mode, in the sense it allows the derived class to access the public and protected members but not private members of the base classes. So in this diagrammatic representation, it shows how it works. That is, in the base class, we have three variables in different access modes. So integer A is declared under the public mode, and the integer B is declared under the protected mode, and integer C is declared under the private mode. So this is the base class variables. So when we are deriving these base class into derived class means the base class members can be changed, like that is in the public variables or keeping kept as a public in the derived class, and the protected members are kept as it is in the derived class, that is protected members, and private members are inaccessible in the derived class. So in this publicly, we are deriving a new class in the sense it allows the derived class to access the public and protected members but not private members. So private public members are public in the derived class and protected members are protected in the derived class, but the private members are inaccessible to the derived class. Second one is the private mode. So private visibility mode allows the derived class to access the public and protected members of the base class privately. That is, here the class base class contains three variables, integer A, B and integer C. So integer A is declared as public and integer B is declared as protected and integer C is declared as private. So when we are creating base from this base class to deriving a new class, in the sense the public variables are treated as private in the derived class and the protected variables are treated private in the derived class, and also the private members are inaccessible to the derived class. Here also the private members are inaccessible to the derived class. So public is treated as the private variable and protected is treated as the private variable in the derived class. Then third one is the protected visibility mode. In the protected visibility mode, it allows the derived class to access the public and protected members of the base class in the protected mode. So this is the representation. Here also the base class is having public variable, protected variable and private variable. The public variable integer is treated as protected in the derived class, and the protected variable of base class is treated protected in the derived class, and the private variable is inaccessible to the derived class. So all the three visibility modes, the private variables are inaccessible to the derived classes. So in the case of protected visibility mode, when we are keeping the public variables in the base class is treated as the protected members of derived class, and the protected members are treated as the protected members to the derived class. So next we can see about one example for single inheritance. So through this example we can understand how the inheritance can be implemented with the help of the program. So what is single inheritance? In the sense, it is a base class which contains only one child class. That is, we are deriving a new class from only one base class. So the syntax for deriving a single inheritance is, first of all, we can define the base class. So for defining a base class, we just use the keyword class. So class, then followed by the base class name, then open bracket. So this is the body of the base class. So within the body of the base class, we can write the statements for the base class. So after the body of the base class is finished, we can end the bracket with the semicolon. Then we can write the statement for the derived class. So class, we can here also we can use the keyword class, then followed by the derived class name, then colon, then access specifier, then we can use the base class name. So here we are using the base class to deriving a new class, so that we should specify the base class name here. Then we can specify the body of the derived class. So after the end of the body of the derived class, we can end with the same body of the statement with the semicolon. So this is the example for explaining the single inheritance. So as we know that what is single inheritance, in the sense we have to create a new class from the only one base class. Here the base class named as base. So we should define the statements for the base class. First of all, the members of the base class are publicly defined. That is, under the public mode, it contains one variable and one function, member function. So the one of the variable is named as base value, and the function name is void base input of. Through this function, we can just get the value of the variable base value. Then this is to end the base class. So the base class is ended with a semicolon. Then we can start the definition of derived class. So for defining the new class, we have to follow the syntax rule. So first of all, we should use the keyword class, then followed by the derived class name, then colon, then visibility mode public, then use the base class name. Then we can write the statements for the derived class. So here the derived class has its own properties. So the new property of the derived class is derived value, and the member function of the derived class is or derived input of, then void sum of. These two functions has to be defined within the class. So the definition written for the derived input of function is to get the value of the derived value. Then the sum of function is written for finding the sum of two variables, base value and derived value. So the base value is from the base class and the derived value is from the derived class. So the derived value is its own property and the base value is from the base class property. So here this derived class is inheriting the properties of the base class. So this is to end our class definitions, that is base class as well as derived class definitions has been ended. Then we should write the main function. So the main function is very important. From the main function only the execution will be started. So first of all we have to write the statement for the object creation. So the object has been created with respect to the derived class name. So derived class name is here the derived class name is derived. Then we can name the object. So the name of the object here is D. Then we can call all the function with the help of the object created for the derived class. So d dot base input of. So when this statement is executed, automatically it invokes the function written inside the base class, void base of. So this is to get the value for the base value. Then next function, that is d dot derived input of. When this function is invoked means it automatically transfers the control to the derived class definition. So here the definition is written. So from this definition it gets the value for the derived value. Then it execute the t dot sum of function. When this function is invoked or when this function is called, it automatically invokes the function definition of the void sum of function. Here the function definition, this function definition to find out the summation of two variables. One variable is from the base class and the second variable is from the derived class. So this is the explanation of this program. So whenever we can write a program, the program should be begins with the main function. So the execution will be started from the main function. The output of the program is, for example, the integer value for base class is 5 means, and the integer value for derived class is given is 2. The sum of these two integer values is 7. Thank you.